Greetings to you wherever you are. Today, we want to have a lovely conversation concerning this season that has been upheld, observed, and cherished by millions of people all around the world. Okay? And they celebrate it as a particular day in history. But I'm here to tell you that it is not really a historical fact, but it is more so a psychological inner experience. That psychological inner experience will equate to a spiritual awakening, a spiritual experience. That is what it's really all about. Okay, that's why I'm saying to you, it's an experience. And it's only when you have the experience that you would realize that the entire world believes a lie and was fed a lie. It is only when you have the experience you would realize that everyone has a story to tell from every different culture, different era. Doesn't matter what race you belong to or what culture you're from. This same story of Christmas have been told in many different ways. But when you understand the language of symbology, you see they all carries the same language. And it is the language of the inner light that resides within you. The inner light in you that wants to shine forth. This is the experience that they don't want you to know about. That is why they take this story and they wrap it up in symbology and give it to the world. The most celebrated holiday in the entire world is the Christmas holiday. At least around 99% of the world population and nations celebrate this particular day. But if you really understand that it is a chap to chop you in linear time, to make you believe that time is real and that it is not an illusion, to make you believe that the things that you use to shape your values and your morals and your behavioral patterns, the things that they use to shape that kind of mindset isn't what you would discover if you really experience the Christ consciousness that is in you. So, my brothers, my sisters, if you look at the behavior of people all around the world, you see there's a display of a certain mindset. And this kind of mindset is around giving, receiving, extravagance, sharing of presents, the revelry, the singing, the dancing, the clapping, the Christmas tree, the Christmas songs, the Christmas clothing, and all the other things that make it a very commercialized conglomeration. And many people worship around that idol and fail to realize it's an idol given to them to trap them in time. Because when you believe that there was an individual outside of yourself that was born on this particular day, when you have that kind of belief, it is you failing to realize that no SON, in other words, there can be no human experience on this planet without the presence of the SUN, the basic common sense. From since the dawn of time to now, it is said that there is nothing new under the sun. Why? Because everything comes under the governance of the sun. So it is the birth of the sun. It is the birth of the sun in man. The birth of the sun in man is the discovery of man's self. It is the symbology of self-realization. So Christmas is the greatest gift to man, because Christmas is you discovering yourself, your Christ consciousness hidden behind a mask. And you're taking the mask for your real self. That's why you're looking outside of self for a Santa Claus. But the real Santa Claus that bring gifts to you, of your spine, your backbone. Some call it the colostrum, some call us the Christus. I call it the invisible fluid. Because when that takes place, there will be a resurrection. And there will also be a birth. There will also be a death and a burial and a resurrection. It must be a bringing forth. That's why they tell you that when the child was born, the wise men brought the child gift. And most people think it is speaking of a man on the outside. You see, when you discover your physical self, your psychological self, and your spiritual self, you start to live from inside out. And your Christ consciousness will teach you that everything that you desire in this world is a must. And that must is a plus. Because you have to expand and increase in consciousness and awareness to really experience the real Christmas, so that you will know that the one that they give you is a lie. They don't want you to know how to discover the real Christmas that takes place within you. You see, when the real Christmas takes place within you, you would realize that it's all about the sun. It has always been about the sun. And they switch the SUN around and give you a S-O-N. You see, the sun is the light of the world and will always be the light of the world. Without the sun, there's no life and there's no light. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. That's why I've been giving people all around the world a course called the Inner Sun Science and Technology to create your reality consciously. All year long, it's Christmas for you when you discover your Christ consciousness. That is why, for those of you who've been following me, if you look around this season, you notice I wasn't posting that much because I had a lot going on. Okay, because I understand what this season is all about, and you capitalize on this season, because when that has been entrenched in someone's subconscious mind from a very young age, it's very hard to remove those traditions that have been passed down. And so on the internet, you'll find so much different information about Christmas. And most of the information that is available, most of them is pointing you back to the idol. They're not pointing you to yourself. They're trying to use a word that they refer to as pagan. And they put a meaning to it and a feeling to it. It's a vibration. So they make you believe that before they give you religion, that the people didn't know what they were doing. But the people were quite aware of their oneness with the all, their oneness with nature. They were all aware by being more observant. They weren't too busy hunting to survive and not taking note of what was going on around them. For example, it is because they were taking note of what was going on around them that they knew that no one was coming to save them. They had to save themselves. They had to be hunters and gatherers. Well, the intelligence that told those people before any political parties, before any religious bodies, that intelligence that tells them that it is the sun that gives all of humanity its energy, and that it is the sun that is the giver of all life, and that the sun must be revered, or in other words, be put in a high place of understanding, understanding, I should say. It is that intelligence that is teaching you that you're one with the light. You're one with the sun. And you must never look away from the sun. That's why sun gazing is very important. Always look to the sun. Never look away from the sun. So when they give you this holiday that they call Christmas and have you looking on the outside, it is to accomplish what they would have set out to accomplish. And that is to control your feeling, control your mood, control your belief system, and it will definitely control your entire existence on this planet. Because they will influence the things you do, the things you say, the songs you sing, the places you go, the clothes you wear. Everything that you do, they'll be influencing it. That is why in Christmas, there's so much people that come under the influence or the energy of Christmas. And it happens because of repetition. Because they repeat it over and over and over and over and over and over throughout your childhood years. And you observe it even into your adult years. And you believe it, and it become a part of life, become a part of the tradition. a part of the custom. And so you never question it because everybody is doing it. But it have deeper meaning. So the real Christ is that consciousness, that awareness that is existing behind a mask. You see, you have your visible self and you have your invisible self. Not until you experience your invisible self that you would experience the true Christmas, the true celebration. You would discover your limitless self. There's some people who tell you that Christmas used to be known as Saturnalia, and all the things that they do, they used to do it around that time of Saturnalia. And they're speaking from a historical standpoint. But everything that I would have seen and heard on the internet, what make it make sense to me is my experience that I have, and no one else know that I have that experience. And so these things are just bringing confirmation to my experience concerning the inner son. That's why Solomon, being the wisest, that will bring you into a golden age, is the rising of the S-U-N and a S-O-N. Is the sun man rising in you? And as a melanated person, you're so close to the sun, yet you're so far away from the sun. Because you believe in a man of 2,000 years ago. You believe the 25th of December that some child born from a woman down below. And you fail to realize that it is the birth that is above. The birth that takes place in the invisible and limitless world. To find your limitless self, your Christ awareness, your Christ consciousness, not by intellectualism, not by words, but by actual experience. That is why it is not a coincidence. Let me repeat it. It is not a coincidence that the country that I live and grew up in is the only country in the entire world. Let me repeat that again. The only country in the entire world that celebrates 9 days before the 25th. And it have nothing to do with Jesus. It have nothing to do with the colonizers. This was even before the colonizers. That's why the country where I born and grew up also is the only country and the first country that is still known up to this day for Shakerism, though it's been polluted by the colonizers, and I know how it's being polluted. But the science is still there in symbology. Just recently, a politician give them a holiday. And we know that the people who come together to put this whole Christmas tradition together are the same people who give you politics, give you the banks and everything. The same people give you the school system, the religious system, the political system. They are the ones who also give you Christmas outside of yourself, instead of pointing you to the Christ consciousness that is within you, that state of mind, that state of awareness. You realize that there are infinite states of consciousness in this world. Just look around and you see the different personalities. But if you understand, as it is within, so is it without, you would know that there could never be any Christmas on the outside unless it falls behind the inside. Well, if the merchants are getting richer and richer and richer, and those from the religious bodies, they're getting richer and richer and richer and richer, because every year more and more people been born on this planet, and more people are celebrating and continuing the traditions that have been keeping the masses blind and keeping you a slave when you're supposed to actually be a master. You see, if you cannot master your mind and you cannot master your emotions and you cannot become the Lord and master of your destiny to create your life whichever way you want it to be, then definitely these traditions gonna control you, because it means that you are following the follower. It means you are being conformed. But for those of you who are listening to me, I want you to be transformed by the renewing of your thinking, be in control of your mind, so that you can activate the Christ oil that is in you, so you will experience Christmas for yourself and experience the real Santa that will come down the chimney, your backbone, down the spine. You know, since I growing up, I hear people talking about men who normally achieve certain, we call it, degree. Yeah, certain degree. And some men even call themselves imperial wizard and all of those kind of names. And 33rd degree, this, and 33rd degree that, and so on. Okay, and they call themselves masters and so on. But you can't have master without slave, and you can't have slave without master. And that's the game that life entails. It's a game of life. So I'm not here to condemn. I'm here to educate. I'm here to inform. I'm not here to change anything. I'm here to tell you that you could change yourself. You could change your world by learning to understand how your mind works. Okay? So for example, a person could believe that the 25th of December is the birthday of the sun, the SUN. While another person could believe it's the birth of a SON. Okay? But whatever belief you have is still a belief. However, if you experience the fact that actually without the sun, there's no life and there's no light, and that without the human imagination, there's nothing made that was made, and you decide to put your imagination to the test, you start to practice mindful breathing, visualization, affirmation. You start to watch what you say to yourself when you speak to yourself. You start to practice more conscious self-talk. You start to speak riches and abundance in your life. And even if you have, say, $10 in your bank account, you could add 30 to that. You could add 40, 50. You could even add 60. How much zero you want to add to that? And you could believe that and speak that and repeat it over and over and over and over and over again. And through repetition, you impress that upon your subconscious mind, and you're going to become a fact. I'm telling you. Then you start to really experience the real Christmas. All the joy and the happiness, all of the greetings, all of the salutations, all of the selling and the buying, all of the gifts exchange, all of the New Year resolution, all of these things, you start to understand is a program. But instead of you chopping yourself to that outside program, you realize that everything is a mirroring of what is taking place within. So, my brother, my sisters, I'm actually teaching you the law of correspondence to really understand Christmas, because all of the teachings they have on the internet is basically historical, and they're good. It's good that people can resort this kind of information, bring this kind of information to you, but you're still in the intellectual knowing until you start to practice certain things in your life and get certain experience for yourself. And you start to live your life on this planet as God in flesh. You're wrapped in gift. You're the baby that wrapped. Okay, you're the one. And no one else. It's all about you. Okay? There's nothing to change in this life but self. And there's no one to blame but self. It's all about you. Stop taking the mask to be you. Okay? So, my brother, my sisters, let me just take a little time out here, to read some of these comments here. And let me thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Someone says here, Jamaican accent. Okay, most Caribbean people speak almost alike, okay? Doesn't necessarily mean that you're from that particular island, but the Caribbean is just one country actually, but they divide them into many different, sects. So people in Jamaica, Trinidad, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and Grenadines, and so on. The people believe in what the passport says and so on. Okay, but when you think more deeply, okay, just one landmass. Okay, this person asks where I'm from. I'm living in the Caribbean. Okay, St. Vincent and the Grenadines to be specific. This same person say, big man, you are not making sense. Well, you wouldn't be making any sense if you can add to the discussion and prove or show where I am not making sense. Because just to say that someone is not making sense, but you can't provide no information, you can't bring no inspiration, you can't let your light so shine. What you gonna give people to hold on to? Okay, so you're just a bag of wind as far as I'm concerned. Okay, that's why I make sure to tell you Christmas is an experience, and that they don't want you to know it's an experience. Okay, because they don't want you to experience your Christ consciousness. Okay, they want you to live in a place of lack and scarcity. They want you to live in mental slavery. They want you to live in poverty. Okay, because you see, the things that I can teach you to set you free. Once you are free, you become a threat to those who are feasting off your energy. Okay? Because the positive need the negative and the negative needs the positive. You have to realize that one man God could be another man devil, and another man devil could be another man God. So, with someone saying, the same person who wants to know all of these questions, okay, who want to ask all of these questions, yet they can't provide no answer, yet they want to tell you what you're saying don't make sense. Okay? These are the same people turn around and tell you that Trump and the American government being a pirate in the Caribbean, delight, pirate, bay-faced pirate in the Caribbean. They will tell you that makes sense. These are the same people who turn around and tell you to plunder and commit genocide around the world. It makes sense. To steal people's assets, like the oil and the mineral and so on, and to use so-called what they call democracy to do so. That makes sense. Because you see, they don't want you to be enlightened concerning these empty traditions like Christmas that they give you to increase you even more into consumerism. Consumerism is a form of enslavement. Okay, and Christmas is the biggest time for that. Okay. And I'm speaking from a standpoint, even as a businessman, I have business, and my business profit a lot from it. But I still gonna tell you the truth. Okay. Because I'm not gonna stop selling and buy and so on, which I've been doing throughout the entire year. So if the end of the what they call a year, people want to buy more in abundance, I'm not going to stop them from doing that, but I'm going to tell them the truth. Okay, that there's no Christmas on the outside. It's only on the inside. Or someone says here that your connection is really glitchy. Thanks for the info. Okay. You have to realize it's the network. Most people are at home because of the holiday, and like for example in my country there's a lot of people who travel from overseas to come to be with their family and so on around this time and so on. So there'll be more people on the internet and everything, so most likely you're gonna be a little bit more slower. For example, you have to understand in these parts the way the system set up and so on, and the people who doing like the media service, okay, who provide that kind of service, they never really give the people a certain quality for their money. They don't do it that way. It's always some other way. They come and they know how to just get the money from the people and not provide the service as the best as they can. Because if they're gonna do that, they're gonna charge the people even more money. Okay, so you have to understand that. So something that's why the connection might be like that. It's the whole network. Someone says hi to you too. How do you master your mind? In order to master your mind, you need to realize that all is mind. We're living in a mental construct. And so be mindful to start your day and end your day in gratitude. Always be thankful. You see, if you train yourself to always be thankful that you're creating a program, okay, and just like the computer can be programmed and it have a CPU, which is the central processing unit, you too have a central place, okay? So if you do not practice like mindful breathing, mindful self-talk, monitor your mind every day. If you do not practice meditation, learn to calm your mind down. Okay, if you do not practice these things, then your mind will just be straying all over the place. And your brain is actually a receiver, okay, a frequency, and a transmitter also a frequency. So once you understand that everything in this universe is based on energy, vibration, and frequency, and that you are a vibratory being, you realize how important your thoughts and your emotion is. So you control your thoughts, you control your emotion, and you accept that you have both positive and negative thoughts happening in you all the time. But you are not the mind. Your pure consciousness is this consciousness that is absorbing these thoughts. So you just have to understand balance. Don't go to no extreme, okay? Someone say hi. Anyone that's still trapped in the matrix will not get it, okay? And that is so true. Anyone who's still trapped in the matrix, they'll never get what I am saying. Okay. Because you see, this whole Christmas celebration is to get you to look outside of yourself and for you to really believe in time. For you to believe that there's such a thing as a Monday and a Tuesday and a Wednesday, when there's only now. You're living in the eternal now. They make you believe that there's such a thing as a January and a February and a March and a April and a May and a June. They make you believe that time is real. So if you believe that time is real, you believe historical facts. What they call historical facts. So you believe the story of Jesus. And you believe he's a literal man who existed thousands of years ago. You believe in such a thing as BC and AD. Those timelines just represent when they start to control your mind. Common sense in itself will teach you that all of our behaviors on this planet, what we refer to as our personality, it is all the result of our psyche. I mean, common sense will show you it in a tree. Whatever seed you sow, that's the fruit you're going to bring forth. Nobody can change that. It's so simple that many people miss the simplicity of their divinity. That's what I'm saying. Christmas represents your entire divinity. That's why it's all about light. It's about gift. It's about sharing. It's about giving. It's about loving. It's about embracing. It's all about believing, but they don't have you believing in yourself. They have you believing in something else. They don't have you believing in nature. They don't have you believing in the sun to be the giver of our life and the savior of the world. In other words, they turn around and they repackage something in a different way and give it to you. That's the trick I'm exposing to you. That's why I tell you, they don't want you to know that Christmas is an experience. It's an awakening experience. It's an enlightening experience. That is why they're associated with Santa Claus bringing gifts to you. That represents the oil at the back of your head and at the back of and at your spine, at the base of your spine. When that arises in you, that is you experiencing the new birth. They don't want you to know anything about the new birth. The birth that takes place within the invisible birth of a child. That child represents your intelligence. Because your IQ gonna go to another level. And when you begin to speak, many people wouldn't understand the things that you're saying. You have in you lying dormant all the gifts of wisdom. That's why they tell you the three men, though their gifts were different. They were wise men. So you have a certain wisdom hidden within you that you must give birth to. Whenever you give birth to that wisdom that is in you, you definitely give birth to the baby, the Christ baby, that will save your world, that will cleanse you from all of your ignorance of self, and you will shine forth. So just as the men and women would have recognized the importance of the sun before the world was subdued through religion. These people knew their divinity. So what a people would have lost is the recognition of themselves. And so every 25th of December, they carry out a ritual to continue keeping you in a certain rhythm, in a certain paradigm, a certain way of thinking and believing and repeating over and over and over. That's why it doesn't matter how much generation exists on this planet, they will still have Christmas. But everything they're doing in the ritual is all about you. That's the main story I'm trying to share with you. That's why it's an experience. I already experienced Christmas. I already experienced the real Santa Claus. It's one event. So they try to give you the Christmas event one place, then they try to give you the Easter another place, and they try to make you think it's separate events. No, it's one event. That's why there's only one event that they don't want you to know. Because anytime you know that particular event by experience, that's it. You can't be controlled, you can't be manipulated. And you can't go back to conformity. Someone says they ask any so-called Christian how they come up with Jesus being born on the 25th of December. They can't answer. Well, there's a lot of people who will go all into astrology and astronomy and so on and show you the same practice used to take place before the world was Christianized. And it was always pointing you back to the sun. I mean, if you really know your Bible well, you realize that even the Bible tells you that the Lord thy God is a sun. Psalms 84:11 to be specific. He say, the Lord thy God is a sun and a shield, and no good thing will he withhold from you. Basic comments and teach me. The sun never withhold any good thing from all of humanity. Okay? So, let me just read them other comments and come to a close here because I don't want to go more than an hour. Okay. Someone says nowhere in the book Bible say that Jesus was born on 25th of December. No way is it that does it state that Jesus born the 25th of December. And the reason for that, it is because only you would know when you experience the birth. Only you would know when you rearrange your mind and you start to see the world from a different angle and things start to change in your life for the better. Only you alone could have the experience. That is why they would have kept the secrets of the universe and the secrets of existence and who we are in secret societies, because it would all be a secret. Because my experience is a secret. Your experience is a secret. But what is in secret must come to light. If you plant pumpkin seed with pumpkin life in the seed, The life, what they call the nucleus or the seed, or the essential part, the essence of it, the life that is in it. Is that why it must bring forth? That's why there's nothing higher than life. So when people talk about the Most High, when people talk about, oh, there's some higher power, which power higher than life? There's no power higher than life. It's either life or death. So the birth of the Christ represent your awakening. I'm speaking from experience. I am Christmas wrapped in flesh. Christ wrapped in flesh. Okay. Someone say nowhere in, oh yeah. Someone say peace to you, Guru. Peace to you too. Okay, so the things that are written in the Bible are basically things that have been plagiarized and put in a way to make you religious and superstitious. Everything will point you all the way back to nature itself. It will point you back to yourself and teach you that everything is within you. So if you understand that everything is within you, all of the commerce that is taking place around this time, you could be a part of it and benefit from it in a big way. Because why? You know better and you know what it's all about. And you know you cannot change anyone. They have to change themselves because we all have been given a choice. So this information will be shared around the world from many different angles. But today I'm sharing it with you from the angle of experience, not from the angle of, where people talk about Saturnalia and all of those things. I don't know anything about Saturnalia. I don't know anything about the pagan Roman beliefs. I do not believe anyone has ever been pagan. I do not believe in the word pagan either. You know what I mean? So I don't speak from that place of information, but the information is very important. So I would encourage you to go and do your own research, check out the information that other people have to offer, because all the information that people have been offering on the internet, it just bring a confirmation to my experience, and that's why I'm only speaking from the angle. I speak from the other angle. I know what I experience. That's why there's nothing new under the sun. Once you experience the sun, there's nothing new. AI, none of those, nothing new. Someone say the birth of the sun. Yes, the birth of the sun, as what many people been stating. But when you have the experience of the birth of the sun in you, that's what I am talking about. That's what I'm really talking about. So, because of the experience, why I know when they talk about it is the birth of the sun, and they talk about the 21st to the 25th and so on, and they talk about the birth of the sun and the sun being rebirth and all of that, I know that everything is connected. So whether you want to talk from a standpoint, say one is celestial and one is terrestrial and so on, and they use those kind of words, all is connected. So Christmas being one of the most lucrative time of the year, the most celebrated, is a reflection of you. Not until you discover that you can be a conscious and a deliberate creator, and you start to create your life based on the blueprint that you have for your life. Not until you start to do that, you really understand that there are levels to these things that I'm speaking about. But all in all, is experience. Okay? There's definitely intelligence within. Call it Christ consciousness, call it whatever name you want to call it. When you have that experience, everything you listen to will only be bringing confirmation. Doesn't matter which angle they take it from. Whether they take it from a scientific angle, whether they take it from a spirituality angle, whether they take it from a religious angle, a political angle, it doesn't matter which angle. That's why the book of Mind Science, the Bible states that I will open the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing. This is the blessing I'm talking about. It's the Christmas blessing. The Christ consciousness being activated. Some people refer to it as the pineal gland. Some people refer to it as the third eye. Some people refer to it as, they have many different terminology. But the terminology mean nothing without the experience. That is why, as I come to a close here, even the ignorant and delusional religious people fail to realize that the most hated man is the man they say they're worshipping. The most dangerous man is the same man they say they're worshipping, because this man was dangerous to the religious and political system. You see these religious people here reflecting that kind of life. You have to be real dumb and blind. You think if a preacher is on the pulpit preaching a Christmas message, you think you two gonna shadow ban him? No. Think happen. That's why those who have the experience, when they speak, they're not gonna be embraced and accepted by mainstream medias and so on, because the media is the number one thing they use to control the mind of the people. How you think Christmas becomes so commercialized? And they convince the world and tell them that Jesus is the reason for the season. Because they trick them with Jesus. They give you an idol and make you lose yourself. You reject your own self. No one make you reject yourself, but you making the choice for yourself. So my brother, my sisters, can either believe in a Christmas on the outside and then look forward and say, oh, the New Year, they make a New Year resolution and all kind of thing, and keep repeating the same thing over and over and over. I go say, boy, what this man saying makes some sense to me. This is what he experienced, and he's telling you experience and telling you that the key to life is understanding your divinity, and your divinity is connected to the solar system because you are a soul. If there's a solar system, how you could come to know there's a solar system if you have a soul? Man, I think that alone should really finish everything I say in here. If you believe there's a solar system, or you believe there's an outer solar system, and you don't believe there's an inner solar system, you know, many of the people, the closest people, the sun. You know, we are the closest people to the truth, and yet we are the people furthest from the truth, because the colonizers give you an idol of themselves to worship, and people keep worshiping that idol. So even people stop going to church and they don't go to church and they reject the church, deep inside of their DNA, their parents and their parents pass down that through epigenetics. And deep within they still believe you have some, so that's why they have so much a conversation around so much a different name. Some say oh Yahuwah, some say Mahaha, all kind of names. Some say Yahweh, some say Jehovah, some say all kind of names, some say the Most High, some say Jah, some say higher power, some say all of that. And there's not, I can't sound, there can't be nothing higher than life, you know. We could be higher than life. Tell me, I want to know. We higher than life. We higher than life. I want somebody to tell me we're higher than life. I want someone to tell me that it's not just one cycle that we experience all the time, the cycle of light and darkness. That's all. Who could convince me, tell me it have a Monday and a Tuesday? And it have a January and a February and a March. Who could convince me that? Who could convince me that we live in 2025 and going in 2026? Who could really convince? How you gonna convince me? It's only now. There's nobody in this entire world could make me think that there's some tomorrow and there's some sort of future coming. Much less to think that some man in some sky coming. Or some man in some sky came and born. No, I had that, but that I can't be fooled. When they talk about the Grinch that steal Christmas, you know what they talk about? Man, hey, no, man. Don't make me bro me craziness. I gotta come to a close here. The Grinch that steal Christmas. So my brother and sisters, listen to me, man. Seek the way of abundance, prosperity. Seek the way of gifts. Santa Claus coming down the chimney. Seek the way there. From the North Pole. Not the one from outside, from the one that is within. Seek for your lamp to be lit. Seek to find the pearl at great price. Seek to find the stable. Yeah. The stable, man. The animal stable. Find your animalistic self. To understand the Christ being born. In a stable. A body. That have all the same things. Like a pig. And a dog. Can see, taste, touch, and smell. Man, I could go into so much a thing, but I really want to thank you very much, and I want to let you know that Christmas is an experience. Seek to get the experience, brother. Because when you get the experience, trust me, you can't be controlled. Okay, that's why the whole world been controlled. And a certain vibration and frequency at Christmas, and you can't stop it. And I'm not here to try to stop it. I'm saying to you, you can benefit from it. Benefit as much as you can. Okay, just like the merchants are benefiting, benefit from it. Okay, that's the most you could do. Okay, so my brother, my sisters, okay, let me thank each and every one here. Let me thank this person here for mentioning that I'm speaking the truth. Okay, because it takes the truth in you to recognize the truth in me. Okay, it's all about you waking up. It's all about self-realization. And as I come to close, just think about Christmas, how it's been celebrated all around the world, and how so much money been generated. And just apply that back to your life and realize that there's a part of you that will give you Christmas every single day. There's so much businesses that and I'm speaking from my own experience, my business and thing, in December time, sometimes sale triple, sometimes quadruple. You understand? Any business you have around this time, you just expand. But if you have the right kind of mindset and the right kind of belief about yourself and so on, what happens? You just keep expanding. And you just keep expanding in the now. Yeah, you just keep expanding in the now. So it's an experience. It's not a festivity. It is not a festival. It is not a celebration. It is none of that. There's nothing historical about it. It's all mental and spiritual. That's the lesson I'm trying to get across to you. So let me thank you all very much for tuning in. I hope what I say makes sense to you. And I definitely encourage you to inspire someone else with this information. Share it with them. Tell them that it's all about the mind. Tell them my whole teaching is about being your best life being the best version of yourself. That's why I'm really teaching people, how to become the best version of themselves. If you really understand what I'm trying to teach you here, and how I'm trying to teach you how to get anything that you want in this world, but just mean I'm teaching you from a angle that is not too enticing to just get you chase after money, okay, but to chase after the being instead of the getting, because when you find the being, you get the getting. That's why I always say, when you seek after wisdom first, money will follow you after. Don't seek after money first, okay? But it is your right, okay, to be one with the sun, the sun, okay? Celebrate with the sun. Align yourself with the sun. Align yourself with the sun, okay? So, my brother, my sister, I really, really want to thank you very much. I will encourage you to check out my books. The links are down below. You have about 10 or more books to choose from. If you want to book a one-on-one with me, you could book a one-on-one with me. If you want to become a part of my Free Thinkers and Seekers University, you can become a part of that. I have information there, some masterclass that will definitely help you on a spiritual journey. Also, let me see. I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah. You want to become a part of my Patreon community, you can become a part of my Patreon community. And people donating $20 you have access to a course called the Inner Sun Science and Technology to Create Your Reality Consciously. Okay, that's the Christmas secret and the Christmas story. Basically, I've been sharing for years, on many different videos. Okay, called the Inner Sun Science and Technology to create your reality consciously. That's what Christmas is all about. So, my brother, my sister, I definitely encourage you to check them out. So, with that being said, I just want to say peace. Love you all. Out.